if you're looking for a business to start in 2026, then these are my favorite options, as some of these I've run and had myself. Some of these are just ideas and things that I'm about to do in this next coming year. My name is Quinn Redmond. I'm the owner of Gainer Solutions, and I've had multiple outdoor companies and other home service companies, and these are my best options for starting a new one in 2026. And starting that off is just having an outdoor company. Having an outdoor company, you can be very broad. You want to do tree trimming, you want to do staining of fences, you want to do power washing, you want to do snow removal if you're in the right climate, you want to do lawn mowing, you want to do landscaping, rockscaping. It varies. You can do all of that as an outdoor company. And to start an outdoor company, realistically, again, depends on what you're actually doing. And you can do all of those things and you can go out and just get any job that you want. And when you get that job, you then can get the equipment. So for example, let's say you get a tree trimming job. You don't need a pole trimmer right away. You can go to Home Depot and rent a pole trimmer, or you can just go ahead and buy a pole trimmer. And now you do tree trimming because you have a pole trimmer, and that pole trimmer will essentially be paid off the first time you get a job, because tree trimming ranges anywhere from, you can get someone that probably does it for probably about $50 an hour, but realistically a lot of tree trimming places, because actually then taking the limbs and the removal and stuff, I've seen upwards of $300 an hour, just dependent on the actual scope of the job. So pretty big range there. And hey, you get a pole trimmer the first time, maybe you go rent one and then you just have the cash and then you buy one later. Easy thing to do. The same going for lawn mowing. You can go rent a big lawnmower. You can go rent a small push lawnmower. So you can vary with that. The same goes for lawns. Hey, some people mow lawns we're going to be there once a week and it's $20 every single time we mow. Some people mow for $50 a month and they do it twice a month. Like, it, again, varies. I've seen people who charge $75 or $100 for one-time mow. It's just depending on which area you're in and what you're actually doing, what's the size and scope of the property. But in terms of being able to start, well, you don't need to go buy one, because you can go to Home Depot, you can rent one, you can go get an actual commercial contract, and then you can go rent one of the big ones. And now that's an easier place to start than, hey, I have 1 yard and then now I have 2 yards, or now I have 5 yards. Like, it's a slow build process. So maybe you just go all the way up to the top and then you rent a bigger piece of equipment to be able to get that done. So another option there. Or if you're doing some type of landscaping, maybe you don't really need a certain amount of tools, because you're going to be doing rocks, or you're going to be doing mulch, or you're going to be, painting a fence, or doing something of that nature, where, again, getting the tools and the equipment as you go along in this process, but keeping yourself open and saying, hey, we're an outdoor company. We handle any type of service at your home that is outside. That is an easy way to start. That's an easy way to get doing something. And then if you're in the climate and you're in a place that does get snow, I recommend everyone doing snow removal, because it's one of the easiest things to do. Everything shuts down with the exception of snow removal companies. Every time it snows, people are asking, they need it done. And it's a very easy way to get a bunch of people signed up, because people absolutely hate the snow. They hate moving it themselves. I know a ton of people that should move their own snow and will never do it, because they're just like, you know what? If it costs me $200 a month, it costs me $200 a month. Boo-hoo. Like, I just never want to have to deal with it. They don't want to have to touch it. And so for you in that case, hey, someone at realistically $200 to $250 a month is a very acceptable price to charge for snow removal. And you're going to do that for 4 or 5 months, and you can get these people signed on, and you can say, hey, for the season, it's $1,000, or if you want to do it monthly, and so that way you can go month to month. Some months you want it, some months you don't. It's $250 a month. Easiest way to do a contract, easiest way is doing it that way right there. And then you get the money up front, or you get the money, and that's the operating monthly cost. So snow removal, if you're in the climate, easiest thing to do. And that is on the list in terms of just like, hey, you could just do snow removal if you wanted to. You can have just an independent snow removal business, and the only thing that you do is snow removal. Because if you focus just on snow removal and you get really, really, really good at it, and you get enough clients, you can make enough money in the 4 months that you don't really have to work the rest of the month if you don't want to. Now, it's going to take a lot of work and a lot of effort and a lot of years of building to get to that point, but it can be done. Now, does it make sense to do stuff all year round if you have the capabilities to do that? Yes. And in the early stages, if you have a snow removal company, more than likely, as soon as the snow stops falling, you're going to do some type of outdoor service as well. And that could be power washing, mowing lawns, doing something, again, in that outdoor sphere. So the other option here is not doing stuff that's at a house in terms of working on things that are outdoors. But another option is having a moving company. So this is one where it requires, hey, you need at least one other person with you, or two other people to be able to have a 2 or 3 man team. And having those extra 2 people with you gives you the ability to do that. Starting off, you can do a lot of 2-man moves, especially if you go and partner with a ton of apartment complexes. They are getting people moving in and out every single month, and they are always needing people that are good at what they do. If you do a good job and you focus and you just don't mess people's stuff up, like just take care of people's stuff. It's really that simple. Take care of their stuff. You don't have to worry about it, and you're going to get hired on. The word of mouth is one of those where, hey, people really hate moving. I hate moving. You hate moving. Everyone hates moving. And so more than likely, when people hire out a moving company, it has to do with, hey, I can't do this work, or I don't want to do this work. But in both instances, I want you to take care of my stuff. That's it. Take care of their stuff. At the end of the day, if you have a moving company, show up on time and take care of their stuff. That's it. Don't toss boxes. Don't even really just like go crazy sliding them across the floor while like they're in there watching you do this stuff. Just take care of the stuff. You can use dollies. You can use all of these things, but just be careful when you do this stuff. Take the extra 5 minutes collectively of the job, because it's going to take an extra half second to just not drop the box, but you just kind of bend down a little bit further and be able to put the box down. That's it with the moving company. That is plainly it. If you show up on time and you just take care of their stuff, every single person that gets you of the move is going to give you the highest of high praise, as long as you show up on time and you take care of their stuff. Because even if the move, let's say you give them an estimate and you say, hey, this move should be simple, it should be easy, it takes 3 hours. Even if it takes 6 hours, I'm saying double the amount of time. You gave them a terrible estimate. But as long as you say, hey, we're going to start at 9, we should be done at 12. As long as you are there at 9 and you say, hey, let's get going, and that move takes double the amount of time, but you took care of their stuff, they are going to be more than pleased. They're going to be so happy because you showed up on time and you did the work, and you know what? You took care of their stuff. Now, yes, also don't take these giant breaks. Actually show up and work. Actually get the job done. Don't finesse people in that way. If you charge an hourly rate, then you know what? Show up, get the work done, take your break afterwards. Charge more per hour and hustle. Charge $200 an hour and bust your ass for that hour. And hey, most moves might take 2, maybe 3 hours if you genuinely bust your ass and you're doing apartments. Most people live in 1, 2, maybe 3 bed apartments, and that's a very rare case anyways. You should get that done, and you should get that knocked out in about 4 hours. Total time, and that's kind of like moving at just like this kind of steady pace. Maybe you have to deal with some elevator trouble, with, hey, we're sharing an elevator, you just don't have an independent one. So that's an option there. But a moving company is that simple, and it's a great thing to start, because all you have to do is show up on time and not drop their stuff and just take care of it. That's it. Because at the end of the move, you just go, hey, by the way, we would love to help anyone else that you know that is potentially going to be moving. Here's a card. Thank you so much. Have a great day. That's it. That is it. Plain and simple. That is it. And having a 2-man team, who knows? You can charge, call it $150 an hour if you wanted to. No one is going to scoff at that price. You charge $125 an hour, and let's say you go, all right, cool, $50 to me, $50 to my buddy, and $25 is going to go to the rental of a truck, because maybe you guys don't have a truck to start out with, because you can start this purely with $0. Really, all of these you can start with $0 if you just go and get the jobs at the beginning. But with a moving company, hey, you can go and rent U-Hauls, you can go rent Penske's, you can go and rent Budgets. You can go rent all of them. You can go to Home Depot and get their trucks if you need to. Like, there's so many options when it comes to getting a truck to go do this. It's just, do you have a buddy that is dependable and will take care of their stuff and can show up on time, or a second buddy to do that? And you can have a 2-man and 3-man team and go get yourself moves. There's more than enough moves to be out there to had, but everyone doesn't show up on time, and everyone who has a moving company doesn't take care of people's stuff, and then that's how people and their moving company get tarnished. So show up on time, take care of their stuff, moving company, that's option number 2. And really, option number 3 is, if you wanted to be some kind of content creator, it is fairly easy if you've done anything, if you've played a sport, you played an instrument, if you have some kind of skill with anything, talk about that skill, talk about that thing, take videos of that thing. Maybe you have, cool highlights, and just be in that world. You have very creative thoughts for things that you're passionate about, but things that you're passionate about are things that you spent a lot of time working on. So like for me, I love sports. Sports have been my life for the longest of times, but that's also as a result of I played numerous sports growing up. I played numerous sports in high school. I played numerous sports in college, and I've played sports after. Like, I still to this day am involved in so many different sports. I'm involved in watching sports. I still am involved in both partaking and / coaching and training, like all of this stuff. I'm still involved in the sports world. So I know very intently, and intently is probably the wrong word to say it, but like I know a lot about sports, and I know like the ins and outs of sports. I know the inside things. Hey, I know certain ways of training. I know certain things of weightlifting. I know certain things in this sport. I know rules of this. I know jokes here. So me making content about sports and me being involved in sports, I have a lot of content that can be made about sports because it's like, oh, well, I spent a lot of time in sports. I spent a lot of time talking about and being involved in this, practicing, going to games, going to tournaments. All of that can be made into content. And the same goes for business. Well, I've had multiple outdoor companies. I had a power washing company. I did snow removal. I had a moving company. I built my own brand. I've had a marketing agency. So like I've done these numerous things, and it's like some I had great successes in. Some I had great successes in, and it was kind of like the seed that fell on rocky ground, sprung up immediately and then withered away. Okay, well, what did I learn from all those things? And then when I learned from that, I then was able to pivot and transition to, oh, now this next thing, I have all these other tools, all these other resources for. So me being able to make content is a lot of times, hey, where did I make mistakes? What did I learn from it? And then where can I go from this now? I have tons of stories. I have all of these hilarious things that I get to talk about. Like when it comes to, you know what? I had a snow thrower rather than just keeping the original snowblower that I had the season before, but I sold it because I wanted to get it something new. And so I ended up downsizing and went to the snow thrower because I was like, I can get by with this based off of the way that last season went. It forecast it should be the same. And so I stepped down in equipment, and then we got hit with 3 blizzards. So I was like, probably should have just either kept the equipment there, or maybe not downsized at all, or maybe I should have actually upgraded in size. Like it was an interesting dynamic because it was both like, oh, well, it worked for part of the season, but then for those 3 blizzards, it was like, yo, I gave myself triple the amount of work. It wasn't like, oh, this is harder. No, it was 3-4 times the amount of work with the slightly less snowblower than what I had. Versus it was just like, well, the one that I did have, it was kind of cumbersome when I had to get it with the ramps, and it was kind of hard, and then getting it down from the ramps all the time. And versus this, it was just kind of easy to kind of just like lift and throw it because it was a little bit lighter. And then when I was actually walking, it was easier. So for, I don't know, 60-70% of the season, maybe it was better, but I don't know, it could have actually maybe been slightly worse because it didn't matter. It's in the past. I can't change it now. But I have the experience from it. I can talk about it. And now you can make that decision. Now you can think to yourself, okay, what do we look like for the season? Does it make sense to go ahead and get a little bit fancier of a snowblower? Or does it make sense that I'm going to get a couple more of buddies to come do it? Maybe we can just do it with shovels and get by there. And then everyone has some more cash. And we can just kind of, hey, have stuff in our pockets. We'll be good. We're only going to do it for maybe a season, maybe 2. Or do I want to transition to this into like a long-term thing and really build this and really establish this? So my mess ups and my mistakes, my scars, I'm able to give that to you without you having to go through that pain. You can think about that and have those decisions early and up front where, hey, understand and learn, maybe just have the equipment that makes you in the middle that is going to be able to get you by on the really, really hard days. And you know what? It might be a little bit, overkill on the basic days, but you'd rather have something that's maybe a little bit overkill rather than underkill when it really matters. So that's something I learned. That's something that I went through because I had both. And you know what? I had to suffer through when I had the lesser equipment when it really mattered. And the same goes for in the spring. Okay, well, having tree trimming and having power washing and doing lawns and doing landscaping gave myself an ability to go out and do all these different types of things. I've power washed fence, I've power washed driveways, I've power washed houses, sidewalks, cars, boats. Like you can do a numerous different things with power washing. You could just do power washing and you don't have to do anything else. The same way you could just do landscaping and you don't have to do anything else. You could just do rockscapes inside of landscaping. You could just do mulching inside of landscaping. So there's all these different outlets and all these different things to do, but it's being aware and understanding that you can do all those. The same for tree trimming, the same for window washing, the same for house cleaning. You can do all of these different things, but having the time to sit there and think it out and understand, oh yeah, I can do all these different things, and putting them on paper and going, well, tree trimming sounds cool, but I don't know. I just don't really want to do that. This power washing thing, the power washing things kind of sounds cooler. And then boom, just channel and focus everything into that. And then now you're able to have that decision and you can just make that choice rather than having to go through the entire process and having to think through all of these things. Hopefully my scars are able to help you along in that process. And if they did, hit subscribe because I'm going to continue giving stories and I'm going to continue helping out with that. And I'll see you in the next video.